Yo, how's it going? It's October the 8th, and man, I've been stressing lately because there's like so much going on, so many places that need help. And on the one hand, I want to go pitch in, and on the other hand, I can't let down what I'm doing. Well, with the hurricane coming in pretty soon on Florida, my daughter's down there, and it's a different feeling when you're explaining to them to get a couple sawhorses and some good 3/4 plywood and just make a table for your arts and crafts. If it gets bad, dive under the table. I remember Andrew, we went down there, them houses was gone. It was just all foundations. It's sure enough bad. It's sure enough bad. I see some more bad coming around the corner. And, I don't like to get way out in left field about, the ionosphere and chemtrails and all this other kind of stuff. But, I mean, it's just sure, it sure is a world coming pretty soon where there'll be a time where if a fella talks like that on the internet and shares, I mean, they've shut my channel down. They took 472 videos. I think that's what it said. 472 in the email. I've posted so many things. A lot of my cave videos, like there's substantial amount of stuff with the caves that I've had trouble with the electronics. Like recording it, and it's just gone off of the device. So, we're stepping into a season, folks and family. We're stepping into a season. I'm going to tell you, the self-censorship and all this kind of stuff is it's a pain in the neck or whatever. But as you got to realize that within 100 miles of the border, the Constitution is suspended. Okay, now that's been in place for a long time. I think that went in, now don't quote me on this, but I believe it was 15 was when the first stuff started coming out, and then the stuff about the turn your car off device for like police chases and stuff, that the 2024 year model cars had to have that. Now, you can get on here, you can look at how your car and your phone and the surveillance and also kind of stuff like that. And you'll see in the Bible where it talks about they gave up, they said something about peace and security. And then that's kind of how they trick us all into it as a group. And there's enough of them tricked into it now. I just watched a video where a young lady was, she was referring to the flood victims and said something along the lines of, oh yeah, when I heard they were dying, I was happy that there was less racists. And she was young enough to say stupid stuff, don't get me wrong, obviously, but she was old enough that she knew what she was saying. I mean, there was no doubt in my mind that the system has failed her. That would be your go-to to say something like that, whether it's here or there. For me, that doesn't matter because humans, and that's kind of, when Donald Trump first ran for office, I told my wife, I said, look, I don't know if he's legit or just like a used car salesman, but he's saying a lot of the right stuff. However, there's a lot of people on both sides that don't like this old boy, so he ain't getting away with nothing. You know what I mean? And that gets back to accountability. You know what I mean? And when you see these things that are wrong in your workplace, in your home, in your community, in your politics, in your country, whatever like that, it really comes back to accountability. You know, I heard a guy talking just minutes ago. I was watching a live stream, and he said something about he seen himself on a video, and he decided he didn't go and die. He looked a little fat, and you know, me too. Anyway, the accountability. Where's the accountability in your life? You know, is your accountability to God Himself? You know, and like I've been struggling with some stuff with the family and everything because of the financial situation. You know, I'm over here struggling on like 84, and like I got a clear path to 200. A clear path to 200. You know what I mean? Like easily $130 out the door. You know, W2 style, everything's legit. You know what I mean? And I can't get agreement. I can't get cooperation and all this. And it's not even one of them things where I would have to be it's not necessarily team driving with me and my wife. You know, she could just go drive a different type or whatever. You know, she's got the license and everything. But there's like a confidence thing, and there's like this I don't know, it's like a mental blockage, and she's doing great things for the kingdom, so I know it's the enemy attacking and stuff, you know, so I just pray for my wife, you know, Lord help. I pray for her a lot, that you know, for her physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. And I think about these things, and then I'm like, how I've always been a go-getter. I have always been a go-getter. And in my family, the standard is, like, if somebody's at the doctor or whatever else like that, you drop what you're doing and you run wide open as fast as you can to the bedside, and you show up. You know what I mean? And I have to exercise so much discipline in these various situations, you know what I mean, to keep driving this stupid truck, you know what I mean, and staying on point, staying on mission out here. You know, a lot of the times nothing's going on, and I feel like I'm doing more than everybody else. And then, like, when stuff's going on, I'm not there to help the people that are doing stuff. And it is like, it's like putting a tiger in a cage, man, for real. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. My go get 'em is off the chart, and I would just, we never had nobody to rely on. We don't have nobody to rely on. It's like we're going to help each other, and God's going to give us the empowerment. But we are the hands and feet. I remember asking my dad when I was a small kid. I said, Dad, why is everybody here? They said, because we show up. I was like, yeah, but what do we do? He was like, oh, I don't know. You know, it's like somebody's sick, you know, like somebody went in the hospital with, you know, pneumonia. Well, you show up and by God say something. You know what I mean? And later on, you know, get more affiliated with the Bible and stuff like that. Well, you're supposed to show up because, you know, your goodness, your frequency, your vibration, you know, if you want to get all, you know, they need a hug. They need an encouraging word. They need to see that somebody showed up. And I guess that's really sticking with me because my daughter said I was the only one that called her. Now, she's married and all that, and there's an elder there, and, you know, it's not like I'm the only person that called. I was the only one that specifically called to call her and to be there, like that mental thing where you're like, okay, yeah, you're squared away the best that you can be, but like, how are you doing, type of deal. You know what I mean? And you know, to be there, to just have that question. You know what I mean? And whether that's on the phone, whether that's through a video or whatever, is different degrees and stuff. But since that thing has hit, probably, well, I probably have 25-ish Bibles left out of 80. You know what I mean? And I've been going on about, well, all of this month and a week of last month probably. And these have not been like just giving out. And that's probably what I probably need to read one of these Bibles to you guys. That way you guys hear what I'm actually giving to all these people across the country. You know what I mean? Because it's not King James. You know what I mean? I did get a word back. The elder, he goes to the food pantry twice a week and takes food to other people. You know what I mean? And of course he eats some of it too, don't get me wrong. But I give him some Bibles to, put in the hands of the right people. And, it got back that somebody read one of them, and the devil gets on me too, because, man, I got great advice all the time and nobody will listen. Like, it's so rare. I mean, it is rare. We're talking 1 in 25,000 recommendations where somebody says, they'll come back and say, oh yeah, we did that. You know what I mean? And it's probably a high 90% that when they come back and say, hey, I did what you said about fill in the blank, and it worked out great. So on the one hand, I don't really hear it. And then on the other hand, it's working when I do hear it. So it's like, oh man, it's such a, it's difficult to be out here by yourself, man. And then to know that you're surrounded by a cloud of witnesses. You know what I mean? You got command and control angels. You got, all these different responsibilities and stuff. You know what I mean? And there's plenty to do, and I mean, and then you got rando. You always run across rando. Like, you really got to be prepared for rando, because he might be a blessing, he might be a foe. You just don't know. It's random. That's why I call him rando. But he's always there. He's always there. And when you run across these random people in your life, you got this opportunity, this giant, I don't know what it is. But you have this giant opportunity that if you work it just right, it's a lot like fishing. It's no wonder he called us fishers of men. But you got this opportunity to lay the grace and the gospel and the Holy Ghost wisdom in that certain specific way. Like just a minute ago, less than an hour ago, I dropped a couple jokes by my cup of coffee, and the guy did not want to hear it at all. And neither did that lady that was working in there either. And I think they owned the store, and they seemed to be looking at the steaks and looking at stuff, but everything was like expensive, and I didn't, I was doing a 30-minute break, so I was kind of killing time. Probably looked like I was stealing stuff, to be honest with you. So I think the guy was a little suspect that I was stealing, which I wasn't, but just a little bit too much meandering around. But I'm not paying $29 for a pork chop. I mean, it's like, hey, you're charging too much money for this stuff. And they're like, for real, I see a can of vegetables, I forget what kind, or I didn't notice at all, because I see the can of vegetables, look down, $2.99. $2.99, I'm like, no, I'm not that hungry. Anyway, it's so difficult because the bills and everything, and then the sideline stuff, and then like everybody's needing them, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 27 ministries. You know what I mean? If you tack a couple zeros onto whatever you're doing, even one, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's it can get out of control pretty fast when you're on a budget and stuff. And I sat down and I was looking at some budget and some numbers and stuff like that, and consistently, even just like one banking app, I consistently spend $20,000 to $30,000 more money than my income, and I don't know how that happens. I'm a W-2 guy, you know what I mean, and I'm the only one working, and and I think part of that's because pulling from savings and stuff like that. So I guess, but it's so difficult to see. I don't know. I can't really call it jealousy. You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean. I don't want to. I don't want to do certain things. And then on the other hand, it's like being there to be there for them and stuff. And a long time ago, my wife said, "What if God calls me one direction and calls you the other?" And immediately I just said go. Immediately I just said go. And that's it. It's been. I didn't know that I was going to have to live by myself in a truck for another 12 years. And man, it's like doing time. It's like I'm in a plastic. It's like this is my plastic prison. And I don't know how many people's been to prison, but they let you go outside, right? But generally, there's like a track, and you just walk the track. So it's like I'm out here just driving down this road. And sometimes it reminds me of walking the track in prison. I'm just like, this is too much. I remember I got out of prison, and I was talking to my dad. I had drove since way back when, and he called the truck a prison. And prisoner of the wind, I believe is what he called it, because he'd say, keep your nose in the wind, keep driving, keep that left door shut, and keep your nose in the wind. And something about a stiff upper lip. Anyway, I see people, and today for sure I heard it, but I've heard it several other times, and they'll say something about, I don't want to get on there and just make content.